Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Fox Sports.
The Rangers offense has been sizzling in the Texas heat, pounding out 17 runs in their first 2 wins over the Rays. Today, left-hander Drew Smyly makes his return from the disabled list, hoping to get Tampa Bay back in the win column. We welcome you to Arlington, Texas. This will be Game 3 of this series between the Rays and the Texas Rangers. Hi again, everybody, and welcome to an afternoon of Rays baseball with Brian Anderson, Dwayne Stats. Great to have you looking in today. Well, the first 2 nights in Texas have not been good for the Rays, and BA, they're hoping that the light of day will bring a better result. They're going to get the left-hander Drew Smyly back.
Well, coming off the disabled list, and what's not to like about Drew Smyly? We've seen him for 10 starts as a Ray, and he's been nothing short of fantastic. Now, he has a tall task today because his Texas Ranger lineup swinging the bat so very well and so dangerous, but Drew Smyly brings that ability to change eye levels with the fastball, as you see right there, the way that he can throw it up in the zone to get the swing and a miss. It will be imperative for him to use that fastball down, change eye levels, and then use the secondary pitches to keep this offense off balance if the Rays have a chance here this afternoon.
Smyly's career record in 4 starts against Texas, 2-1 with a .259 earned run average. He says that shoulder feels great. Yovani Gallardo will make the start for the Texas Rangers. He is 1-1 with a .219 in his career against the Rays. Most recently, the Rays saw him in early May at Tropicana Field. It will be the Rays and the Rangers concluding this 3-game series and their regular season series here today in Arlington. Back with all the action in just a few moments. Rays still looking for a win here in this series against the Texas Rangers. They've dropped the first two, 5-3 and 12-4. The wild card now finds the Rays 2 games back of the Angels for the second wild card spot, but they're also chasing Baltimore and these Texas Rangers. And we'll take a look at the starting lineup for the Rays, presented by your Southern Ford dealers. John Jaso again leading off. He'll be followed by Grady Sizemore and then Evan Longoria. James Loney in the cleanup spot in front of Logan Forsythe. Asdrubal Cabrera is at short. Desmond Jennings again at left, hitting 7th in front of Kevin Kiermaier. Kurt Casale will do the catching and bat ninth.
Now taking the mound this afternoon for the Rangers, right-hander Yovani Gallardo, making his 25th start of the season and trying to turn things around. I mean, through his first 19 starts, he had a 2.62 earned run average. Since then, in 5 starts, a 1-1 record, ERA of 6.57, and averaging almost 20 pitches per. The Rays should have plenty of opportunities again here this afternoon. Let's take a look at that Texas Ranger defense, see how it's going to line up behind them. Brought to you by BMW. In the outfield, left to right, we have Ryan Strasburger, Delino DeShields, and Shin-Soo Choo. And across that infield, third to first, Adrien Beltre, Elvis Andrus, Rougned Odor, and Mike Napoli, with Bobby Wilson once again behind the dish.
John Jaso preparing to hit as he faces Gallardo to start this game. Gallardo pitched 5 1/3 against the Rays on the 8th of May, gave up 4 runs, 3 of them earned. He's coming off a no decision Tuesday against Minnesota. Rays at the 500 mark, 58 and 58, with 46 games left to play, keeping their wild card hopes alive. And the first pitch of this game is a bit outside, fastball wide, 1 ball, no strikes. 94 degrees as we start play. And there's ball 2, 2-0. First pitch presented by Pinch a Penny. Foul ball outside of first.
And you would think that Yovani Gallardo, the type of pitcher that he has become, more of a strikeout guy earlier in his career, almost 9 per 9 innings. Now he's fallen way off that mark and resembles Colby Lewis. So having those guys back to back may benefit the Rays offense here this afternoon.
Cut the miss. 2-2. Jaso playing his 33rd game this year for the Rays and hitting .333 with a home run and 11 runs batted in. And he takes the ball wide, so a full count. And his on-base percentage over .400. And that's one of the primary reasons the Rays brought him back. They like his offense. And in that leadoff spot, and there's strike 3 call. Thought he had drawn the walk, was headed to first, and Tripp Gibson rings him up.
Well, this ball, I mean, a borderline at the bottom of the strike zone, definitely over the plate. When you see Bobby Wilson able to catch that ball right in the webbing and try to present it. You know, you get the meaty part of the hand. See where that ball was? Way down in the zone, into the webbing. A great job by Bobby Wilson in presentation, and he got the call.
Yeah, that's all on Wilson right there. Pitch appeared to be out of the zone, down.
You know, that's what you talk to catchers, and they'll say that the meaty part of the hand will try to keep that on the plate, whether the ball's down, whether it's in, whether it's out, and catch that ball in the webbing. Just catch it, barely be able to catch it, and then it looks like the glove in the hand is actually over the outside corner or at the bottom of the strike zone, and you get those calls.
1-1. The count now to Sizemore. To call third strike to Jason will be interesting tonight. Tripp Gibson, a young umpire, behind the plate. And if you recall, going back to the Boston series when Mike Napoli was still in Boston. These two had a little disagreement over a third strike call, and Napoli was eventually ejected by Trip Gibson when Napoli left his bat at the plate, and Gibson told him he'd forgotten his bat. And then
well, that's what Napoli told him. That's why we have bad boys.
Yeah, he said, we'll let the bat boy come and get it. And that took care of Napoli. Sizemore has doubled to the wall in right. So Jaso decided just to take the call and retire for that at bat.
Well, Grady Sizemore, the delivery right here, that ball just hangs out over the plate by Gallardo. Grady sees it well. This time he gets it up and over the head of the first baseman. In this case, it is Mike Napoli, and down into the corner, and the Rays have a shot right here as the Rangers attempt to appeal over at first base, saying that Grady Sizemore missed first base, but that's not the case.
Mark Carlson, the crew chief, having nothing of that attempt. So the double by Sizemore puts him in scoring position for Evan Longoria. Pitch is a strike. Evan 1 of 6 in his career against Gallardo.
And that's what Gallardo needs to do at this point in his career to be successful, is work the fringes of the strike zone. He does not have the stuff anymore to pitch out over the heart of the plate. And if he does, the Rays will hurt him. And I really believe that because he's so close to Colby Lewis as far as stuff and movement, the Rays have a good day today.
Longoria is out on strikes.
They will have to improve the swings, however. 88 miles an hour. He comes up in the zone trying to change the eye level of Evan, and you can see the swing not with a whole lot of conviction as he realized that ball too far up, can't hold up, takes the strikeout.
So 2 strikeouts for the 2 first inning outs, and now it's James Loney. Loney more at bats than anyone in this lineup against Gallardo, 6 out of 20 against him. Pitch up a bit, and he went after it. Strike 1.
Well, not afraid to take 88 to 90 miles an hour and throw it up there at the letters. You're going to see both of these pitchers with that pitch in the arsenal. Bring it up close to the eyes and then work back down in the zone.
One and one. Rays with a man in scoring position, 2 gone. Ground ball headed toward the middle. That's going to sneak through into center. Sizemore on his way to the plate, and the Rays take the lead 1-0. James Loney just got it through in between Odor and Andros, driving in his 23rd run of the year.
Well, when you have a hitter at the plate that will use the whole field, you got to play him somewhat honest. But look at James Loney. Just pull that enough. Odor dives, comes up empty. Andrus dives. And the purpose of those dives really at that point was just try to keep the ball in the infield and keep Sizemore to third base. They couldn't do it. The Rays take an early lead.
Now it's Logan Forsythe. And he takes a strike. Logan 0 for 3 last night, 0 for 7 in the series. Liner into center. There's a base hit for Logan. Loney advances to second. 3 hits in the inning, a run so far. 2 men on with 2 men out.
Yeah, you got to believe that Jeff Bannister is going to look for an opportunity at some point with the Rangers trying to make a run, trying to get back in to the wild card, battle that's going on between like 6-7 teams right now, that you've got to split Colby Lewis and Yovani Gallardo up. They're just way too similar pitchers, and when teams get them back to back, that guy that's pitching the second ball game is at a huge disadvantage.
Yeah, the Rays were frustrated last night through the 6 innings they saw Lewis. They got 5 hits and a couple walks, only 1 run, and really thought that they should have gotten more. 20th pitch of the inning is a strike to Asdrubal Cabrera. Cabrera, since the 28th of July, hitting .491, including a home run last night. Into right center field. DeShields on the move. He's there and makes the catch. Ball had enough hang time, and DeShields got over there from his center field spot to grab it in right center field. Rays get a run. They leave 2. We go to the bottom of the first. It's 1-0 Tampa Bay. Starting lineup for Texas presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Delino DeShields leads off, then Shin-Soo Choo. Prince Fielder, the DH, bats third in front of Adrien Beltre. Mike Napoli, the 5th place hitter. Then Elvis Andrus. Rougned Odor is the 2nd baseman in front of Bobby Wilson. Wilson hitting 8th. And Ryan Strasburger is in left field batting 9th. Smiley's first pitch, DeShields takes it down.
Well, for Drew Smiley, it's his first start in the major leagues since May the 5th. Been too long.
But on the disabled list on the 9th of May, retroactive to May 6th. So here he is, a big start for the Rays and a big start for Drew Smiley.
Well, and it will be all about commanding the fastball. That's what you want to see early. Drew has not had many ball games since then. As you can see, he's missed on 3 of his first 4. And that was something that had plagued him a little bit on his rehab assignment. He was not as sharp as we've seen Drew Smiley when he was down making his 4 rehab starts. But the Rays, they feel like he's healthy and he'll be able to get it done here this afternoon.
And he walks DeShields. That's the last thing you want to do with this guy. He has seized the chance to play every day. It has great speed.
Let's go ahead and set that Ray defense. Brought to you by BMW. In the outfield, left to right, we have Jennings, Kiermaier, and Sizemore. And across the infield, third to first, Longoria, Cabrera, Forsythe, and Loney. Kurt Casale gets the call behind the plate this afternoon.
There's Chu. He's been red hot. Left-handed hitter against the southpaw Smiley. And Chu, since the All-Star break, is hitting .342. It's a strike at the knees. DeShields has walked. Shields, 20 stolen bases. He's fifth in the American League. He's been caught 5 times. There he goes. The pitch is down and there's no throw. Casale had trouble finding the handle on it. And stolen base number 21 for DeShields.
Well, you're just timing first movement from a left-handed pitcher. That's all Delino DeShields is looking for. As soon as there is a flinch from Smiley, he's going to be off and running. This ball down and away as Casale's coming up and out of his crouch and just could not come up with that ball in a clean manner in order to make that throw.
There's a shot to center field. Kiermaier back. That's going to one-hop the wall. DeShields will score. And that's a double for Chu. DeShields scoring from second base on that double. And boy, his arrival at the plate was a late one.
And it's because of the respect that you have for Kevin Kiermaier. The ball that's blistered out to center field, you think that Kiermaier is going to be able to get to it. So DeShields had to kind of hang close to second base. Shin-Soo Choo, boy, does he put a charge into this ball. Down and out over the plate, a line drive to center. It gets over Kiermaier's head. Delino DeShields with the late start, but the speed makes up for it, and the hand sneaks in. Gets it right underneath that foot of Casale and able to swipe over home plate.
So quickly, it's a tie game. Prince Fielder takes a strike. Shin-Soo Choo continues his hot hitting. And now Prince Fielder tied for the league lead in hitting at .326. 0-2. So the walk, stolen base, and the double. Into center field. Kiermaier there to make the catch. He started in, had to go back. And now the tag and advance to third by Chu. And Kiermaier had a difficult time getting an initial read on that one.
You know, the shot by Chu, he got, a good jump, but a bad route. And then right here, same thing. He starts in and then realizes, whoa, got more carry. He has to hop and leave his feet. Once he leaves his feet, that's going to allow Shin-Soo Choo to get a jump off of second base, and the throw's not in time. Those may be the 2 worst routes that we've seen Kiermaier take, and it didn't cost him really anything. That ball by Chu was going to get over his head regardless. But the worst 2 routes we've seen Kiermaier take all season. He's usually dead on. Great jumps, great routes. A little bit of a stumble here this afternoon.
1-0 the count to Beltre. And another pitch close. Inside, 2-0.
And by the way, those being the 2 worst just tells you how good he has been, because they weren't even that bad. But that's how spot on he is just about every time.
2-1 the count on Beltre. So a spot for Smiley in the first. The game now tied with Chu at third, 1 out in the middle of the order. Beltre has had a lot of success in his career against Smiley, going 5 out of 8 against him. It's popped up, foul, and will carry out a play. Now full count. Been 102 days since the last start with the Rays for Drew Smiley. Last rehab game was on the 11th. And the foul ball again out of play. He worked 4 innings, made 94 pitches. That pitch count the highest of any game he's pitched this year, including the games he pitched, the 3 starts he made with the Rays. Three-two, skied into right. Sizemore waiting for this one to make the catch, and the tag. Chu will score, and it's 2-1 Texas.
Adrien Beltre did his job. A long extended at-bat against Smiley, a full count. You're trying to get something with the infield in the air to the outfield, and you go out to right field. Grady Sizemore, not the typical arm out there in right field, so there was no chance to get Chu.
Well, there's Mike Napoli swinging and missing. A big cut on the first pitch. Napoli has just 1 hit in his career against Smiley in 13 at-bats, but that hit is a home run. Out of play, 0-2. Smiley, 26 years old, 3-1 last year with the Rays, 9-10 overall. He had gone 6-9 with the Tigers when the Rays got him in the David Price deal. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes. 0-1 this year in his career numbers with the Rays, 3-2 with a 196.
Man, how about that opponent's average of 159? I mean, he just has not given up anything as a Ray. How do you have 2 losses?
Well, this year in the first 3 games to right-handed hitters, he had held them to a 149 average. And that's a strike call on the outside corner. Fastball got him looking. 2-run score at the end of an inning. 2-1 Texas. Toyota. Let's go places. And by Morgan Auto Group. Make it Morgan. We make it happen. Well, Desmond Jennings will lead it off here in the second inning. Takes a fastball low. 1 ball, no strikes. Bottom 3 in the order due here for the Rays. Jennings, Kiermaier, and Casale. Two balls, no strikes. Two and one. Desmond had a base hit last night. 3 hits on Friday. Pops it up right side. Napoli near the stands, runs out of room. The count is 2-2.
Well, you're going to have to swing the sticks today. You get that feeling that as hot as the Ranger offense has been since the All-Star break, the Rays have been more productive. You've got 2 pitchers that Gallardo's not going to be able to blow you away. Drew Smyly hasn't made a start in the big leagues since the beginning of May. You could get into a shootout here.
Ball headed toward right center field with some slice, and it's over DeShields this time. Jennings around second, heads for third, and he's in there standing with a triple. So Desmond Jennings continues this hot series. That's his first 3-base hit of the year.
Well, we've already seen with the 2 balls that were hit out to center field with Kevin Kiermaier out there, the ball is carrying big time. And DeShields trying to get there, but gets over his head. And once you go out into right center field here, 407 in that little corner. And the Rays left fielder able to get over to third base easily.
Here's Kevin Kiermaier. Kiermaier shoots it past Beltre between the Texas third baseman and the bag. Run will score. Kiermaier heads into second, and he's in there with a double. Game tied at 2. Kiermaier with his 21st double drives in Jennings.
Well, Adrien Beltre had no chance. Kevin Kiermaier slapping that ball the other way, and once it gets by him, you're going to force Strasburger to have to run all the way over towards the left field line. That's not going to keep Kevin Kiermaier at first base. So not only does it score a run, but it gets another speed guy out into scoring position. Another ball out over the plate. Gallardo cannot afford pitches out over the heart, or it's going to be a short afternoon for him.
Kurt Casale puts down the bunt halfway to the mound, and that will move Kiermaier over to third.
And I understand bunting a guy over to third, okay? Not here. You've got a pitcher out on the mound that is ripe, okay? He's been leaving balls out over the plate. The Rays have put good swings on him. It's early in the game, and I'd let Kurt Casale swing the bat, or whether he did it on his own or got the sign, he should be swinging away right there.
You know, it's interesting because they move him over with a couple of left-handed bats coming up. Jaso, the first one. The pitch is down, but the numbers, not a lot of variation, but right-handed hitters a little better against Gallardo this year than left-handed hitters.
Well, and just the eye test. I mean, Gallardo is ripe for the picking. You know, I mean, you got a runner in scoring position already. Swing the bat and try to have a big inning. You know, don't play small ball in the second inning of what could be a back-and-forth affair.
A little tap foul. It's 1-1.
Well, this is the 8th inning. Okay, if you've got some superstar on the mound where runs are going to be tough to come by, okay, not here.
Well, Jaso with a couple hits in the game last night. 3 hits in the series, and 2 of those have come back through the middle. And they have Andrus right there in the middle of the diamond. So they shade him up there toward the middle. Covered up by Wilson. It's a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Ground ball, and that will get through. Kiermaier scores. The Rays take the lead as Jaso makes contact. Got it to the right of Odor. Driving in his 12th run, and the Rays grab a 3-2 edge.
Well, right now, nothing by Gallardo. Surprising Rays hitters. He's not able to consistently stay in the areas that he needs to stay in, and the Rays are making him pay.
Mike Maddox pays Gallardo a visit.
And John Jaso shockingly finds another hole. It's amazing. Not only has he put up a great batting average, but his batting average on balls in play is absurd. I mean, it's at a level that, well, you would think it's not sustainable, but he's done it so far for 33 games.
So the Rays get Jennings and Kiermaier home. Jaso's at first with 1 out. And Grady Sizemore, who doubled and scored in the first, bats again in the 2nd inning. There goes Jaso, and a swing by Sizemore, and he just got a little piece of that one to foul it. So Jaso's going to have to go back to first.
Well, I like the Rays offense, the way that they're going about it today. This is like a no holds barred type of game. I mean, you've taken the lead. The Rays are very aggressive with the lead, and Jaso is off.
Bluffs a start, and that pitch in on Sizemore. He pops it up. Odor is making the call. You know, it's the kind of approach that you would think you'd love to see a team take at every possible opportunity.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, from an offensive point of view, push the issue.
Especially now that the way starters are being used, they're not around. You know, that used to be the old thinking. We've talked about it before. You know, work that pitch count, see a lot of pitches, get them out of the game early. They're coming out of the game early anyway. So go up there, be ready to hit, and put the fear of God in somebody.
Here's Evan Longoria. Pitch is down. Well, we touched on it the other night. Hitting is such a reactive spot that if you have a chance to turn the tables in any way and be aggressive, why not do that?
You know, it's exactly what the Ranger offense did last night to Chris Archer. It's what the Rays had done to, so you think about the stuff pitchers that they've faced over the last couple of weeks. Syndergaard, DeGrom, Chris Sale. They went after those guys early. First fastball that was hittable, they were taking swings at. That's what the Rangers did last night to Archer, and that's why they had success. I think you'll see it continue.
Longoria now behind in the count.
And you know what ends up happening at that point is you've served notice that you're going to attack. A pitcher then, instead of trying to throw the ball in the outer half, he'll try to go the outer third. And all of a sudden, he'll put himself into some bad counts.
There's a line drive caught by Andrus at short. The Rays had Jaso on the move. Rays pick up 2 to take the lead 3-2. Come to the Trop Sunday, August 30th. The Rays take on the Royals. Kids 14 and under receive a DJ Kitty drawstring bag presented by All Children's Hospital, Johns Hopkins Medicine, while supplies last. For tickets, call 888-FAN-RAYS or visit RaysBaseball.com. Elvis Andrus will open the bottom of the second inning, and there's a strike from Drew Smyly. Smyly out there on the mound, making his 4th start of the year, just off the disabled list and the rehab assignment. And the bunt, a good one. Boy, that's perfect. And Andrus is aboard. A perfect bunt put down by Elvis Andrus.
Well, you know, he looked out there at the Rays defense, and you know, he's got some speed, wants to get on base to lead off an inning, and he saw this right here. Logan Forsythe deep at second, Loney off, and of course there's Drew Smyly going to deliver the pitch. If he can get it by Drew Smyly, he knows he's got a hit, and that's exactly what he was able to do.
So Andrus is aboard, and here's Odor. That's a strike. Odor sending that one foul into the seats. Back of third. Reaching out for that contact, down 0-2. Odor right now, one of his last 13. Fastball, and that's fouled into the screen.
Yeah, how did he make contact? That was such a late swing on a ball down in the zone. I think Odor was looking for something off speed there, reacting to that heater very late. But he stays alive. Elvis Andrus, not a very aggressive lead here against Drew Smyly, but he's one of the other guys in this lineup that will run.
Cut to miss. Odor out on strikes. So Andrus still at first, 1 out. Second strikeout posted by Smyly. And the hitter is the former Ray, Bobby Wilson. Wilson getting his second start in this series. He was 0 for 2 here Friday night.
You know, that's not much of a move by Drew Smyly, but all he's trying to do is catch Elvis Andrus guessing. Because when you steal off of a left-handed pitcher, you're going on first movement. And so when Smyly starts to bring that leg up, that's typically when a guy's going to go.
Little tapper, shortstop. Play out at second. Forsythe taking the throw from Cabrera there in the nick of time to force Andrus.
Yeah, that ball was not hit that hard, as Drupal Cabrera had to move to his right, and that made for a very, very close play here at second base. He flips it over to Forsythe, and that ball just in time.
Ryan Strasburger up here. He has 14 at bats, 2 for 14 since coming up from Round Rock. He's hitting .278 in 86 games at Round Rock. Offered up there by Casale. Strasburger has shown some power in the minor leagues. He had 21 doubles to go with the 10 home runs in 86 games. And he also has 27 stolen bases. He was 27 of 32 at AAA. Ahead in the count, 3-0 right now. Smiley picks up the corner for a strike. Base hit the other way. Wilson moves into second. A 3-1 pitch, and Strasburger is aboard. So that'll get the Texas lineup back to the top side.
Well, you're doing a hitter here a favor. You know, 3-1 count. You got to figure Smiley's going to come with the heater. He comes with it on the outer half, and Strasburger with a lot of room to work with on the right side because of the runner being held at first. Shoots it out into right field. Keeps the inning going for the Rangers, and they have a 2-out opportunity.
So we've had a lot of base runners here in the first couple innings of this game. Delino, DeShields, the top of the order. Cut them in, strike one. Shields batting .266 on the year. He has taken advantage of an opportunity to play in center field and has blossomed. He's a Rule 5 pick. They took him from Houston, and he was playing Double-A at Corpus Christi and hitting under .240 down there last year. Two balls and a strike. He'd had some injury situations there, including being hit by a pitch that he took up and in and caught part of his face. But the big change, the Rangers think, he had a difficult time trying to play second base, and he's a lot freer to play the outfield. And with that, he's forgotten the responsibility of trying to handle a middle infield spot. They just let him use his athleticism and play center field, and it's been a good move for him.
It probably frees that mind up as far as the offense goes. You feel more comfortable out there. You know, anytime you have the physical tools, and for Delino DeShields, obviously that is his speed. You're going to get opportunities. You just never know when they're going to knock, but he seized it.
And he puts this one into play over the head of Cabrera. Wilson heads to the plate. That will tie the game at 3. Strasburger winds up at third. An RBI single for DeShields.
Well, you go back to falling behind Strasburger 3-0. And then a 3-1 fastball. He shoots into right field. He keeps the inning alive. DeShields with 2 strikes, able to put the ball in play, not with authority, but off the end of the bat. It floats out into left center field. Boy, a lot of action already here in just the second inning. And it's not over yet.
Smiley to face Shin-Soo Choo, who doubled in the first run in the first inning for Texas, and then scored the second run. We have a tie game right now, 3-3. Smiley had a 25-pitch first inning. He's at 42 overall right now. He's faced 10 hitters. 5 have reached. Chu takes the pitch outside. Gallardo and Smiley, the pitching matchup in the third game of this series. And again over to first. DeShields, when he plays and has had a run of success, he does demand your attention in a lot of different areas.
So does Sin-Shu Chu right now. You better have the same attention when you deliver a ball to the plate, because he's swinging the bat very well.
Over 340 since the All-Star break. So far, just one pitch to Chu. That was for a ball. That's a strike in the inner part. 1-1. Well, I don't know if Smiley is preventing DeShields from doing anything, but he's upsetting the crowd here.
Yeah, nobody's a big fan of the constant throwovers, not when you're on the road.
Pop foul, that will carry into the stands. And it's a 1-2 count. Rangers with 2 men on. Runner goes, and a swing and a miss. Chu out on strikes to retire the side, and this game is tied at 3.
And I'm sure you've heard everything is bigger in Texas, and we're about to prove that to you. Nate Carnes was telling me a little bit about Dollar Hot Dog Night. We are about to one-up him This sucker is $26. It's called the Boomstick. It's one of the best sellers here at the park, and it is loaded. It has chili, cheese, grilled onion, jalapenos. It's 2,800 calories. I'm not sure if I can tackle that on my own like Todd Callis tried to do, but I will do my best. They have to even specially make the bread for the Boomstick. They sell about 150 to 200 Boomsticks per game. People coming all the way from California to New York to try the Boomstick Challenge, so I thought I should try as well.
Well, James Loney leading off here against the right-hander Giovanni Gallardo. A lot of offense here in this game to this point. The Rays would like to pull out the Boomsticks here against the right-hander.
You know, speaking of which, I got to that hit late, but I saw Emily walking off. She did not take her luggage down this morning and give it to the bellman. Was that what she was carrying there?
It's pretty good size, isn't it?
I mean, come on.
Yep.
With its own cardboard box and handle. Just absurdity. Absurdity in a box.
2,600 calories.
28.
28?
Yeah, unless you got the light version.
Yeah, there's no such thing as the light version of that. Ground ball right side or door with an underhanded.
Did you tell her? You must have said light cheese.
He's out of there. Well, let's check in, see how it's going down there now.
Whoa. I really have no clue. I mean, I think I got like a third in. I don't know what 28 divided by 3 is. It'd be easier with 7 divided by 4, right? So, this thing is 3 pounds, so I feel like I'm kind of getting a little arm muscle. I don't know if you can see the egg in there, you know. But
you could do some curls with that.
I could. I mean, the camera typically adds 10 pounds today. might want to round it up to 12 or 15. This thing is insane. I don't know how they do it. I really don't.
You need a friend.
I'm trying to find a lot of friends, and everybody's just not pulling through for me. No one wants to help me out. Go figure, a bunch of Rangers fans not wanting to help me out. They're the ones that invented this thing.
I think you head out to the Budweiser deck. I
even cut it in fourth. I cut it in 4 more pieces, so it'd be easy to, find some friends, and nobody's having it. So, but I heard that the Houston sideline reporter downed it by herself. So, I'm a very competitive girl. So I'm thinking, And hey, it's so hot out here. It's keeping it hot. That cheese is still warm. The chili's hot. It's ridiculous, guys. Back up to you.
We wish you the best of luck and continued success with that. And it's now a 2-2 count on Logan Forsythe.
I'm not sure what to make of all that.
No, meanwhile, the game is tied 3-3 here in the top half of the third.
Yeah, as if we needed to add any more action to what we've already seen. I mean, it's been, again, early on, back and forth. These two pitchers trying to settle in and get into some sort of rhythm.
3-2 lifted toward left center. Strasburger on the move, and he crisscrosses with DeShields. DeShields coming over from center field, grabs it. Boy, that could get a little dangerous down there without communication in left center field.
And when you're watching these two guys come together, you can see that there is no communication. At the very end, they're both yelling for it. This ball was up in the air for a while, equally split them, and you see Delino DeShields take Strasburger's glove right to the face. You make the catch and you get smacked in the face by your partner's glove out there. Not too fun.
Here's Asdrubal Cabrera. And that's going to be a foul ball off his foot.
I found a couple friends, guys.
Emily has found a couple friends. Nice going.
That'll be gone in no time.
Go big or go home, buddy.
Foul out of play, 0-2. 2 strikes the count to Cabrera. Loney and Forsythe have been retired. Tap to the right side. This time, an attempt there to close that one out by Andrus. They had Odor deep in the middle of the right side of the diamond and out towards right field. So Cabrera is safely aboard.
I mean, what in the world was that? I tell you, is Drupal Cabrera as hot as anybody? And when you're getting hits like this, Elvis Andrus all the way across and then trying the glove flip. He had no chance on that. The only one that could have made that play was Rougned Odor. And the fact that Elvis Andrus beat him to the ball, well, we'll take a 2-out hit. That's the thing about this game. You never know when you're going to strike big. So those 2-out hits can be big.
Well, here's Desmond Jennings. Put together a pretty good series just back off the DL. By the mound, out to second. Odor takes it to first. So the Rays get the infield hit, leave a man. We go back to the bottom of the third now. He's still working on that. This game tied at 3. Kiermaier on Saturday, August 29th, when the Rays battle the Royals. All fans receive a Kevin Kiermaier Outlaw action figure presented by Dex Imaging. While supplies last. For tickets, call 888-FAN-RAYS or visit RaysBaseball.com. Rays up. Prince Fielder up here with a strike the count. Fielder, Beltre, and Napoli due up against Drew Smiley, opening the third inning. Missed with the fastball there, and it's 1-1. Fielder line to center to Kiermaier in the first. That ball fouled out of play. Two Blue Jays have beaten the Yankees 3-1. Hutchinson the winner. He's now 12-2 with a 5.06 ERA.
It's living right, Dwayne. That is
Yes,
living right. I think that he has the best run support maybe in all of baseball.
Yeah, well, they scored 12 today.
And the thing is, he only gave up.
They scored 3.
Scored 4.
Yeah, but that's low for him.
Yeah, and he gave up 1. I'm assuming that's his 1. He pitched well, obviously. Well, Toronto gets the pitching in order, 1 through 5.
Jennings into this one. That's the first out in the bottom of the 3rd. Well, the Yankees had won 3 in a row. So that's going to tighten the East. Just a half game separating New York from Toronto right now. After that great run the Blue Jays had put together, they lost a couple, so they defeat the Yankees 3-1. And there's a look at the standings.
Well, the thing is, too, the game's not over yet, but Baltimore's put up 2 touchdowns and a field goal against Oakland.
Yeah, how about their game? 17-2 right now. Upstairs, 1-1. Beltre picked up a run batted in with a sacrifice fly in the first. Hot shot. The count goes to 2-2 on that foul ball. You know, we were talking earlier about taking the initiative offensively, and that's what Beltre does. I mean, he takes a big cut. He sees a fastball. We saw last night it might be a foot up and out of the zone, but he's on the attack mode all the time.
And that's his 2-strike approach right there.
Yeah.
He almost spins himself into the ground. Well, I will tell you one thing. With his track record and that swing as a pitcher, you will be careful with him. When you go out there haphazard, leaving pitches out over the plate, and be backing up bases or asking for new baseballs.
And a long one to left. Out of here. Home run number 11 for Beltre. And it's 4-3 Texas. Beltre just keeps swinging.
And in this case, you're asking for a new baseball.
He homered in the 6th inning last night. Home run number 11 on the year in the 3rd inning today. Well, that aggressive approach for Adrien Beltre now leaves him just 1 career home run behind Duke Snider. That's 406 career home runs for Beltre.
How about the career that Adrien Beltre has put together and is still putting together? Think about his defense down at third base, the longevity, as you just mentioned, the number of home runs.
Well, there's only one third baseman who's played more games at third than Beltre, and that's Brooks Robinson. So you put yourself in the career company of Brooks Robinson and Duke Snider. Pretty good career.
Jeez. When he was in the big leagues, what, like 13 or 14?
Yeah, that's about right.
Feels like it.
That blast 394 for Beltre. Napoli takes one low. So the count is full to the Texas first baseman.
Let's see, that very, very close. He's walking a fine line right there.
This one driven toward the corner. That one hops the wall. Jennings with the pickup. And Napoli has a double.
You just watching these two teams, they are just sitting on that back leg, and I mean unleashing big swings, especially this Texas ball club. That is what they are known for. Beltre, he doesn't cut down. Mike Napoli's never going to cut down his swing, and he wraps that ball down into the corner.
That's his first hit since coming back to Texas from Boston. He's gone 0 for 8, so he has a double now. Jim Hickey spending some time on the mound.
Well, you know, and here's the thing. You're on a long road trip, 10 games. You don't want to have to eat into that bullpen and start using those guys up. You're going into Houston for 4 straight, another team that's capable of putting up a ton of runs in a quick manner. So you really need Drew Smyly to try to find something right here and get into a rhythm for a couple of innings.
Here's Elvis Andrus. So a run home on the Beltre home run. Now Napoli's in scoring position at second. 1 out in the third. Andrus, who came into this game 2 for his last 13, bunted his way on the first time. It's a 1-1 count right now. It's 2-1. One of those 2 hits in that stretch was the double off the wall last night when they scored 7 in the 6th. Ground ball, backhanded. Forsythe makes the throw. Napoli goes to third, advancing there on the ground ball out. 2 gone in the inning.
Oh, that was all about positioning for the Rays. That ball looked like off the bat has a chance to get up the middle, but that's exactly where Logan Forsythe was playing. So even though the ball sharply hit, he's able to backhand flag it down. You see where he's at, shading. That ball smoked. And there's the backhand, there's the play, and for the time being saves a run. Well, the Rays so good. They are so good at putting their infielders in optimal positions.
This one right at Forsythe again, positioned perfectly. Odor is out of there. Through 3, 4-3 Texas. To tweet your strongest fan photo. Use hashtag #SSDataStrongFan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Kevin Kiermaier to open the 4th against Gallardo. First pitch taken for a strike. Kiermaier doubled in a run and then scored the second run of the 2nd inning. A little popper short center, and that falls for a base hit. The Rays collecting their 8th hit. Kiermaier 2 for 2. Kiermaier aboard. And after that base hit to open the 4th, let's check in with Emily. Emily, how you feeling?
Hashtag heartburn. There's a couple scraps left in there. I'm not going to lie that I did get a little bit of help. There was a Tampa Bay fan that was helping me for a while, but the Rangers bat came alive, so I took that back, the boomstick back from him, and then a couple little scraps, but just really jalapenos for a couple kids that didn't like the spice.
So jalapenos left.
A couple jalapenos and yeah, just a little chili and cheese here and there, but it's pretty much gone. The boomstick has been conquered.
So a worthwhile effort?
It was. Did you actually know that this was named after Nelson Cruz and his bat, and he's not even really here anymore? So the boomstick still lives on, but not in this this handy dandy box that I got going on. So.
Well, we're glad that you are still standing and have made it through, and made a couple of new friends in the process.
Exactly. I need some shade and H2O, and I'll be a happy camper.
We'll check back with you later, see how you're doing. Runner at first, Curt Casali at the plate, and they keep a close eye on Kiermaier. 1 strike to count on Casali. Ground ball, 3rd. Out at 2nd, wide throw to 1st, and Napoli gets the tag. 5-4-3, sharply hit by Casali, but Beltre and the Rangers turn it into 2.
Maybe just should have bunted him into scoring position. This ball was roped, but right to Beltre. Good glove man. Odor gets a little fancy right here, coming low with that throw. And almost wide. Napoli, good recovery to make that catch and then make the tag.
John Jaso pitches down to him. Two and 0 the count to Jaso. Ball is out of play, and we'll move the count to 2-1. So Kiermaier dropping a base hit into center field, and Casali grounding into a 5-4-3 double play around the horn. Cut to miss by Jaso. 2-2. Jaso looking for his 2nd home run of the year on that cut. Go all the way to 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Every once in a while, you talk about that swing, Dwayne. You will see that aggressive cut from John Jaso when he thinks he's in a fastball count, is going to get the fastball. I love the setup here. That head right out there on the pitcher, getting a really good look at everything. Takes a walk.
So a 2-out walk. Jaso out of that leadoff spot Seeing more pitches than anybody in the lineup by far. And now it's Grady Sizemore. Sizemore doubled and scored a run in the first. He is 1 for 2. A ball, no strikes. Gallardo, 29 years old, born in Mexico, but went to high school in nearby Fort Worth at Trimble Tech. Still lives in Fort Worth. Picks up a strike against Sizemore, 1-1. And Texas got him in a trade with Milwaukee last January. He won 17 games with the Brewers in 2011, was 17-10 and 16-9 the following year. He was last year 8-11 and is 8-9 this year with Texas.
And trying to reinvent himself with less stuff. You know, overall good career numbers, but now more of a finesse right. He has to move the ball around the zone, stay out of the middle of the plate.
It's 2-2 with Grady Sizemore.
And he's got a pretty good pitching coach right there and helping him along the way in Mike Maddox.
High fly ball back into left. Strasburger will go back a few steps and makes the catch. The Rays leave one. We go to the bottom of the fourth. 4-3 Texas. $15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by Checkers. Epic meals, epic deals. Well, Bobby Wilson's going to lead off. Bottom of the fourth. And the first pitch is too high. Wilson reached on a fielder's choice, scored a run in the second inning. Rays have Drew Smiley, the 26-year-old lefty, out of the University of Arkansas. a strike, and the count is 1-2.
He's starting to chase that ball down low. He absolutely went too far right here. Trying to hold up. No. Too much movement.
Well, Smiley in the low 70s now in pitch count. Ahead of Bobby Wilson, a ball and 2 strikes in the 4th.
Well, here's the thing. Can you get him through 5? You get 2 more innings out of him around that 100 pitch mark. I think at this point that would be a perfect world for the Rays.
Well, in his most recent outings, the rehab assignment, he went 4 innings and made 94 pitches. The time before that, 4 1/3 with 74 pitches. So really 94 has been his high water mark.
And now you're thinking about 6 outs in the next 18, 19 pitches, maybe 20, 25 at the most. That's a pretty tall order the way things have gone so far.
And Bobby Wilson is extending this at bat here. It's a 7-pitch at bat to this point, so the 8th pitch will be forthcoming. And it's popped up. And that's Logan Forsythe taking care of that one. So 1 out here in the 4th. And Strasburger will bat. Strasburger had a base hit in the 2nd inning. Giving him 3 for 15. Shows the bunt, and that brings Longoria in. The pitch down and in. 1-0 the count to Ryan Strasburger. It's 1-1. Strasburger out of Indiana State. He was drafted in the 2010 draft by Texas. So the count holds at 1-2. We mentioned some power and speed. In fact, last year he divided the season between Frisco, their AA club, and AAA Round Rock. There's a shot down the line and left, and there's some of the power. He belts his first home run right down the line, and that's going to make it 5-3.
Well, the way that Strasburger was able to follow that off-speed pitch down and into the zone tells you that it wasn't very sharp, just kind of rolling in there. And he made a nice adjustment mid-pitch. Breaking ball. Look at him just go right down there. Level swing, catch it on the bottom half, and let it carry.
And how about the catch on the receiving end? The first major league home run by Ryan Strasburger, and a nice catch in the stands in left field. And here's Delino DeShields. He hit his first home run in the major leagues here on Friday night.
About the same spot, too.
Two-0 count.
And already in negotiations.
Well, it is the first one in the big leagues for Strasburger. Cut and a miss, 2-1. The Rays bullpen is up now. Alex Colomé begins to throw. Shields trying to bunt. And did not offer is the call. 3-1.
And what's he going to do? What will they offer him?
Ball 4 is low. The Shields on for the 3rd straight time. Well, they're going to enter into negotiations right now.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going on. And Jim Hickey's going to head out to negotiate with Drew Smyly.
He'll negotiate and give Colomé a little extra time in the bullpen. Meanwhile, an invitation to follow the Rays all season with MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, StatCast, and more. Get MLB.com at Bat for your smartphone or tablet. Home run to make it a 2-run game here. Strasburger hitting his first in the big leagues. So the Rangers have 5 runs, 7 hits off Smyly. And the hitter is Shin-Soo Choo. 1 out of 2 today. Cut and a miss. He came into this game hitting .342 since the All-Star break, hitting his game time average up to .245. Inside, snap throw down to first, and back in is DeShields. This one is popped into shallow center. Kiermaier, still on the move, is there to make the catch. And that's the 2nd out. So that gets Smyly to 90 pitches. 2 outs into the 4th. And the hitter is Prince Fielder.
Well, this is where you start to think about DeShields perhaps running here. And keep an eye on him and make quality pitches to Fielder.
Shields with a stolen base of 2nd in the 1st inning. His 21st steal of the year.
Well, this is where you say, do you steal this bag and get into scoring position, or are you already in scoring position with Fielder at the plate?
And a fair question. Pitch down. Fielder 0 for 2 in this game. And backhanded first.
Well, he started to go. James Loney came off the bag, kind of an aborted throw here by Smyly into the dirt. Well, to scoop the tag, but DeShields is back in. Had a chance there. In fact, you know, if James Loney doesn't abandon first base and the throw's better, they probably get it.
It's 1-1. DeShields does have the disposition of a base stealer. He gets out there and gives you a little lean.
You see that front hip opened up towards second base to help clear the back leg. You know, stealing second base, it's a math problem. It's a pitcher's delivery time to home plate, the catcher's delivery time out to second base. And so you're looking for any possible edge that you can get, because every 10th of a second matters. So you see those good base stealers kind of open up that lead right hip and try to get a little bit of clearance for that left leg to come sweeping through, so there's no wasted movement, just a hair.
DeShields had a year in the lower minor leagues when he stole over 80 bases one year. It was high in the minor leagues, 83 in the last couple years in the minor leagues. In the Houston system, he stole over 50. So just in those 3 seasons alone in the minor leagues, he had almost 200 stolen bases in 2 minor league or 3 minor league seasons.
Yeah, well, those numbers will get your attention, no question about it. And you can see here that how that right leg, just a little bit offset, a little bit behind. Doesn't matter.
And a cut to miss. Fielder out on strikes, retiring the side, but they pick up another run. It's 5-3 Texas. The Rays down by a couple in the game today, and all season long, Tires Plus donates $100 to the Pediatric Cancer Foundation for every Tampa Bay Rays home run televised on Sun Sports. Evan Longoria will open the 5th. He goes after Gallardo's first pitch and bounces it right to Elvis Andrus at shortstop. 1 pitch and 1 out here in the 5th inning.
First baseman James Milwaukee.
There's James Loney, who singled and drove in a run in the first. Rays got a run in the first. That was the initial run of the game, driven in by Loney, and then 2 more runs for the Rays in the 2nd inning. They haven't scored since. Texas scoring runs in each of the first 4 frames. This pitch is a strike to Loney. And with all that's gone on here, and it has in its own way been something of a disjointed game, the Rays still only down by 2, and there's a base hit up the middle for Loney. And with that, the Rays will get the potential tying run to the plate in Logan Forsythe.
Well, you just got to keep pushing. It's only a 2-run deficit. You're just in the middle of the ball game. base runners, base hits. You're always one swing away. The ball's carrying here at Globe Life Park.
Well, and Logan Forsythe could help out his fellow Razorback here. Right now, Smiley on the hook, down by 2 runs. And if Forsythe could get hold of one, it would square this game. Potential tying run at the plate. And he's ahead in the count, 2-0. Alex Colomé continues to loosen in the Rays bullpen. And there is ball 3. Rays have 9 hits, and they've been taking the ball up the middle a lot against Gallardo.
And that's the right approach, because for the most part, Gallardo, because of the lack of pure stuff, is going to be working on the outer half. So guys that are going to stay away, you got to think up the middle. You try to pull them, you roll over those pitches, soft pop-ups or ground balls.
Foul ball will take the count full. Gallardo working here in the 5th. He pitched 5 2/3 in his last outing against Minnesota. Ground ball, that's going to go through into left, and the Rays put 2 men aboard. Loney advances to second. Forsythe is 2 for 3. The Rays have 10 hits now. And with 2 men on in the 5th and 1 out, let's check in with Emily Austin one more time. Emily?
Dwayne, what better guy do you want to come up to the plate than Asdrubal Cabrera? In the last 15 games, he leads all majors with his batting average of .491. It's really crazy to think that earlier this season he was hitting below 200. I was talking with Derek Shelton yesterday, and he was telling me he's really just squaring up everything, seeing the ball really well, and that hitting has been contagious when you see what Evan Longoria and John Jaso have been doing with their bats. I asked him, what do you tell a veteran guy when he's hitting like so well like this? He goes, nothing.
Yeah, you just leave him alone. And here he is taking the first pitch with 2 men on and 1 out. 1 ball, no strikes on Cabrera. One and one right there out in front. Now 2-1. Cabrera had what turned out to be an infield hit in the 3rd. Despite his final time up, down in the count, connected for a home run that came in the 8th inning. His 8th home run of the year. Count square right now at 2-2. Upstairs, and the full count. So consecutive 3-2 counts. Forsythe singled on his, and now Cabrera with a full count. The lefty Freeman up in the bullpen. We saw Sam Freeman at the end of the game last night. Three, 2, and Cabrera is out on strikes.
Boy, what a big pitch from Gallardo. 2 runners already aboard, a full count. He goes with a good curveball with good depth. However, it's out of the strike zone. And Asdrubal Cabrera in this recent hot streak has not done this very often. He has been swinging at pitches that are in the strike zone. He expands there, and he punches out.
So another opportunity here for the Rays in the 5th. And if they are to cash in, Desmond Jennings is going to have to contribute. Loney at second and Forsythe at first, 2 gone, and Desmond, who tripled and scored in the 2nd inning, up in a big spot in the 5th. He takes a strike. Gallardo trying to be careful with the placement of the fastball and has gotten ahead. Close pitch there, and it's 1-1. Two and one. The Rays have 3 runs off Gallardo so far. We'll take the count to 2-2 on Jennings.
And you see that this whole plan of attack here against Desmond Jennings with 2 outs has been to the extremes. I mean, everything either right on that outside corner or just off the plate. He was able to take advantage of Desmond Jennings' aggressiveness in that 2-1 swing on a ball that was probably ball 3.
Well, this will be the 90th pitch of the day for Gallardo. And he strikes out Jennings. Fastball, and Jennings is out on strikes. Rays lead 2 and fail to score. Bottom of the 5th inning coming up. Rays down by 2. Coming back and making a 4-inning start. 95 pitches for Drew, and he departs, allowing 5 runs.
Well, you know, Drew Smyly, this is very similar to what he did his last rehab start. the 4 innings, the 5 earned runs, a couple of walks, 95 pitches. You know, overall, the fastball command, not where we've normally seen it from Drew Smyly. And the secondary offerings, they were wildly inconsistent. Didn't see really any breaking balls that were very sharp. The changeup, inconsistent. And so all of that combined for a short afternoon for Drew Smyly. Although the Rays are still very much in this ballgame, they'll turn it over to Alex Colomé, who's done a much better job coming out of the bullpen, have kind of simplified his approach as a starter. 4 pitches coming out of the bullpen. For the most part, he sticks with 2, and he's been very good recently.
Last outing came against the Braves in the Atlanta series in that 2-game set. It was 4 days ago. And he faces Adrien Beltre, driven in 2 runs, the last one with a home run in the 3rd. Beltre, Napoli, and Andrews against Alex Colomé. One ball, 1 strike. One ball, 2 strikes. Now Cabrera moves to the first base side, or actually that's Forsythe going back over there. He had been alongside Cabrera on the left side. A little popper into shallow center field, and Forsythe out there to make the catch. So that move back to the first base side of the bag positioned him so that he could get out there in shallow right, and Forsythe handles that. Now Mike Napoli. Napoli doubled in the 3rd. His first hit since coming back to Texas. Upstairs, 1-0. Skied to the left side. That's Cabrera out in shallow left. So 2 up and 2 down in the bottom of the 5th. As promised earlier in the game, we have selected the Data Strong fan photo of the game. Tweet your strongest fan photo to hashtag SS Data Strong fan for a chance to be featured in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Elvis Andrus. The ball, no strikes. One and one. There's a strike, and it's 1-2 to the Texas shortstop. Well, Colomé coming into this outing with an earned run average of .430, but out of the bullpen, .245 in 10 appearances, this being his 11th.
Well, and there was an initial transition stage. You know, anytime you go from a starting type of situation out to the bullpen, that's a whole different animal. You know, as a starter, you've got your whole routine when you're going to start warming up, go to the pen, be ready for the start of the game. In the bullpen, the phone rings, and now all of a sudden you're up, and you've got to have a routine, a shortened routine, in order to get ready. That's why a lot of bullpen guys, they're not coming out throwing 4 pitches. They don't have time to get them all ready. And you're not going to be in there for the most part that long anyway. So you go out a couple of fastballs to both sides of the plate, a couple of your breaking balls, you tidy it up, and you wave the hat. I'm ready to come in.
Yeah, you like to have that third pitch if you're going through the lineup again.
Yeah.
Just to have something in reserve that you can throw into the mix. Full count. 2 outs, bases empty.
But it does certainly appear that Alex Colomé is adjusting nicely. Xavier Cedeno helping him out with that adjustment. Once you get that routine down, then that becomes your job, and you'll be ready to go and adapt.
Longoria gloves it, and the throw to first. It's a 1-2-3 inning. That's the first one of those we've seen out of either club today. Kevin Kiermaier will open the 6th when we get there after this. Sixth inning, Kevin Kiermaier contributing to the Rays' cause with a 2nd inning double. He later scored the 3rd run of the game for the Rays on the John Jaso base hit. But Texas scoring in each of the first 4 innings, getting a home run from Adrien Beltre in the 3rd, and the first major league home run by left fielder Ryan Strasburger. And as this game moves into the 6th inning, Kevin Kiermaier with the strike leading off here against Gallardo. That's foul right down off his foot, shin, knee, somewhere in that area. He's holding that right knee. So on the 2nd pitch here, delivered by Gallardo, here's another look.
Well, it looked to be like a cutter moving in, and he did. He hit that ball right off of his kneecap. I mean, right off the tip of that knee, and goes down in a heap. Well, we see that more and more as pitchers use that cutter coming in on guys, fouling the ball off the shin, the knee, the back foot.
Well, after a little time to get beyond that foul ball right off his knee, Kiermaier appears to be set to go. With Gallardo out there on the mound, the Rangers have the left-hander Freeman back up, and Spencer Patton is busy in the bullpen as well. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes. There's a base hit up the middle. Kiermaier takes off, will turn at first and hang on there with a single. So Kiermaier is 3 for 3.
Well, all Kevin Kiermaier did was just, try to put this ball in play. He just gets the barrel to it, and I think a little rope-a-dope back there on the knee thing. I didn't see anything holding him back there.
Well, that was instant acceleration again out of the box, as he normally does. Well, it's Kurt Casale up here. And there goes Kiermaier. The throw to second, and he is in there head first with a stolen base. So Kiermaier had the base hit and then the steal. All of that after he fouled that ball off his knee. So perhaps a bit of gamesmanship going on there.
Good word. Yeah, that's the correct usage right there. You're right. Kind of an extended, am I going to stay in the game? Can I recover from that? And you saw the turn at first on the hit and then immediately swipe second base. And you definitely have to play Kiermaier here.
Cut to miss by Casale, and now it's 1-1. So the Rays 3 of 7 with men in scoring position today have Kiermaier at second base with nobody out in the 6th. One and two. Sally with the sacrifice, and he grounded into a double play in the 4th inning after Kiermaier had opened that inning with a base hit. So Kiermaier here in the 6th, reaching with a base hit to open the inning and an immediate steal. So that takes that force play, double play out of the picture with Casale up here. They swing and a foul tip strikeout right back into the mid of Wilson.
Well, Gallardo just continued to work Casale away with the pitches moving away, and Casale pulls off of this. You see like a cutter, a hanging slider, and he's just not able to reach it, and that may end the night here or the afternoon for Gallardo.
They want the left-hander to face Jaso. Sports medicine program. Dr. Menon, a Tampa Bay Rays physician and part of St. Anthony's sports medicine program, helping to treat and educate players, coaches, and parents in the community on how to prevent sports injuries. We raise up for help. How do you raise up? Pitching change coming for Texas. John Jaso due. That brought Sam Freeman into the game. We saw Freeman last night for an inning, and his numbers in pretty good order. A hard-throwing left-hander. And Jaso's going to be lifted in favor of Brandon Guyer.
Well, really, it's been the last 28, 29 appearances that Freeman has really been getting it done. And we saw last night a left-hander who's got a lively fastball. He was right around 93, 94 with each and every one of them. And so you can see the strikeouts match the innings. Opponent's average of 218.
Now Brandon Gallardo made 99 pitches, 67 for strikes in 5 1/3 innings of 11 hit baseball, allowing 3 runs, responsible for a man on. He struck out 5 and walked 1. Freeman already very mindful of Kiermaier at second base.
And he's going to have to be careful too coming set, because he came set that previous pitch and was really leaning before he finally spun off the mound. You get the feeling you get Kevin Kiermaier active out there at second base, you can work Freeman right into a balk.
Pitch is low. It's 1-1. Fastball wide. 2-1. Now 2 balls, 2 strikes. The Rangers looking for an overall better performance from their bullpen. They have gotten selected outings that have been pretty good recently. And back to second. Kiermaier ducks back in, but that bullpen ERA coming into the series the highest in the American League at 4.62. He'll take the count full to Guyer. There you take a look in the American League. Texas at 460, with Seattle and Detroit next in the line at 13 and 14. And strike 3 called. Guyer trying to coax the walk is called out on strikes.
Well, a full count breaking ball by Freeman. Tried the fastball 95 just below the zone. And then you're going to, oh, sorry, that is a split that he yanks across the zone. That ball had slider look to it, but that was just a split that was yanked. And it tumbles right to the inside corner and picks up the zone.
So 2 outs in the inning with Kiermaier at second. And the Rays will call upon Richie Schaefer to pinch hit for Sizemore. Schaefer pinch hit last night in the 7th inning for Sizemore. Struck out, stayed in the game, and later singled. So it's Schaefer against the left-hander Freeman. He's under it and pops it up. Odor makes the call and the catch. Rays leave a man in scoring position and trail 5-3. Sun Sports is brought to you by Ford, introducing the all-new Ford F-150, the future of tough, and by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. We're looking at Richie Schaefer. He's in right field now after pinch hitting for Sizemore. He'll stay on and play right. That was the same scenario the Rays employed last night. Schaefer making his first professional appearance in right field. Alex Colomé on the hill. He had a 1-2-3 fifth. And Odor will open the bottom half of the sixth. Takes the pitch wide. 1-0. One ball, one strike. On the corner, 1-2. Rougned Odor struck out and lined out to second. Ground ball. Forsythe with the pickup. That takes care of Odor. First out here in the bottom of the sixth.
Starting to run out of time, getting to the later portion of the game. This is what you're going to need out of that Rays bullpen. In this case, Colomé. Pitch well, throw up zeros, and hope that that offense comes back to life. They showed some good life early, scoring some runs, and been quiet since. That last inning really hurt.
There's Bobby Wilson. He has a run scored, 0 for 2 officially. He's after that pitch up a little bit. Fouls it back for a strike. Wilson 6 of 20 since coming to the Texas Rangers, and is hit by the pitch.
When he got hit flush, that was a great shot from behind home plate. That fastball boring in. There was nowhere for Bobby Wilson to go, and he took that right in the ribs. Looked like.
So a runner at first with 1 out. Strasburger up here. Our Geico moment. Strasburger's first career home run in the major leagues. Shown power in the minor leagues. And hit that one right down the line. And that young man caught his first big league home run. Cut and a miss on a pitch up. Strike one. Strasburger had gone 2 for 14 with Texas. Is 2 for 2 right now. Colome is ahead of him. 2 strikes. Roller through the coaching box up the right side. Texas winning the first 2 games of the series. Friday night 5-3, and last night winning big 12-4. So they have already clinched the season series 4 games to 2 during the regular season. And a tapper by the mound, barehanded by Cabrera, throw to first, not going to be in time. Wilson moves up to second on the infield hit for Strasburger.
How about the last 2 at-bats by Strasburger? We saw the power in the last at-bat, and now when you mentioned the stolen bases, what, 27 out of 32 in the minor leagues, and now you see the speed. A nice play by Cabrera, everything that he could, but Strasburger able to get the left foot to the bag before that ball goes into the glove of James Loney. Absolutely an infield hit, and the Rangers have something going on right here. Strasburger getting an opportunity to play in this ball game. Josh Hamilton getting the day off, and he's making the most of it. Infield hit with speed, a home run.
Now it's the top of the order. Delano DeShields taking it low. 1 ball, no strikes. DeShields getting a chance to play with Leonis Martin out, and there are those here around this Texas club thinking that DeShields may have locked up a center field spot for himself.
Well, if you can keep that batting average in the range that he's in, be an on-base guy. We've already seen what the speed can do. We've seen him run some balls down out in center field. He's certainly making the most of his opportunity. That on-base 366, you take that.
Into right field. That's going to be caught by Schaefer. So 2 men on, 2 men out. Schaefer handling that line drive, had to come in on it.
A little cheat sheet right there for Richie Schaefer on where he's going to play each and every one of these Texas hitters. Obviously getting his first opportunities out in the outfield the last couple of days. You've got to know where to set up. That's very important to what the Rays do defensively.
Now Shin-Soo Choo, who opened the scoring for Texas in the first with a double, is 1 for 3 today. Steps in with runners at first and second and 2 outs here in the 6th inning. Colomé, Casale having a little trouble getting squared away. Down and in, a ball, no strikes. Good hard stuff away, out of the zone. Puts Choo up in the count, 2-0. One. Wilson second, Strasburger at first with 2 gone. And there's a strike. Now 2-2. It's a fly ball into center. Kiermaier waiting, and that will take care of Texas in the 6th. They lead 2. We go to the 7th. Rays trail by 2. you tomorrow on Sun Sports at 7:30 as this road trip moves into Houston. And Erasmo Ramirez will make the start against the Astros, coming off his Tuesday outing against Atlanta. 7 shutout innings of 5-hit baseball. The matchups as the Rays head into Houston. Scott Kazmir, the former Ray, will be doing the pitching for Houston tomorrow night, and the Ramirez-Kazmir matchup to open that one. Jake Odorizzi will work the second game. Nathan Karns game 3, and then Chris Archer back on the Thursday night game. Evan Longoria will open the 7th inning. Keone Kela, the new pitcher. 2/3 of an inning for the lefty Freeman, and now Kela's first pitch is inside. Evan with a strikeout, line out, and ground out. It's 1-1.
How about that fastball? Firm. 96 miles an hour.
And then he darts that one in there.
Yeah, I mean, this is a completely different look. I'll tell you what, though, the Rays have had a little bit more success against the harder throwers. And Kela certainly stands in as one of those guys. 96, 88 on the breaking ball. They're going to elevate here.
And Longoria is out on strikes. Up one more tick on the velocity meter there.
Boy, that was a great sequence there by the young right-hander. 96, 88 mile an hour slider to the corner, and then 97, stay behind it, drive it up in the zone, get it over the swing of Evan Longoria. Very nicely done.
Kela just 22 years old. Now James Loney. Pitch is down.
You know, we made the comment last night, or I made the comment last night, it looked like James Loney had moved up closer to the plate. Maybe that's the norm now. I mean, he's up there once again, been up there all ball game. Look at that, those hands just about over the inside corner.
Fouls it back, 1-1. Kela has made a quick rise through the Texas farm system. He opened last year in A-ball at Myrtle Beach and finished the year at AA Frisco. Shields in center field handles this one. And I don't know if it's my imagination or not, but it seems as if we're seeing a lot of pitching do that.
It's because of the stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they want to get these young guys up here that have stuff. If you show any kind of command in the minor leagues whatsoever, I mean, from mediocre to good, and you've got great stuff, they are going to run you right through the system. It's all about the power arms now and quick decisions being forced upon hitters.
Forsythe taking a strike. Yeah, we've certainly seen this year more 95 plus stuff than any recent memory can recall.
No, I mean, the average fastball velocity has jumped in the last, well, when you go back 5-7 years. I mean, it's gone up significantly, not by tenths of a miles per hour, but by a couple. And you're right, you see power arms, you see some of these bullpens, it's one after the other, 95 plus. A lot of the starters now, you're seeing that kind of velocity. That used to be, well, not the norm, and it is now.
Well, that takes care of Forsythe. Rays are up and down in order. A couple strikeouts in the inning. They still trail by 2. Summary brought to you by Gold and Diamond Source. Teams exchanging runs early. Rays jumping out in front 1-0. Then Texas a couple in the second. It continued that way. And then lone runs in the third and fourth by Texas unanswered by the Rays. And we go into the bottom of the fifth with the Rays down 5-3. The Rays, you felt, had some opportunities last night against Colby Lewis. Same thing today against Giovanni Gallardo. But not a lot to show for either effort against those two right-handers.
No, and when you look at that line score, you say, well, Giovanni Gallardo really settled in and got into a good rhythm, but he didn't. I mean, he went just over 5 innings, 11 hits. Rays once again double-digit hits, had opportunities. You think about the Kiermaier single up the middle, swipe second, nobody out, and he doesn't move from second base. Those are the opportunities that you cannot continue to let go by. And to credit this Rays offense outside of last night and this afternoon, they haven't recently let those go by, but they didn't get it done yesterday, didn't get it done against a vulnerable Gallardo today, and now they're going to have to try to do it against the Ranger bullpen.
Alex Colomé with 2 innings of relief work under his belt, 4 innings for the starter Smiley. And now Prince Fielder will open the bottom of the 7th against Colomé. One ball, no strikes. Two and 0. Fielder 0 for 3, struck out swinging in the 4th. All of that against Drew Smiley. And 3-0. Swinging 3-0, and Loney will make the play unassisted. Well, the Toyota Trend takes a look at the recent home winning streak for the Texas Rangers. For the longest, the Rangers were really struggling. In fact, at one time they lost 12 out of 13 at home, fell to 16-28. But they've started to turn that around recently.
Well, they've got everything working. How about that? You're scoring runs and your pitching's been pretty good. You take those ERAs in this ballpark, they've actually won 9 of their last 10. Still one of the worst overall records in baseball, but they've been getting it done recently, and they've climbed back into this wild card race. Seemingly everybody's in this wild card race.
Adrien Beltre fouls the first pitch back for a strike.
And the American League, just a hodgepodge right now of teams jockeying for position for the stretch run.
Well, the Rays started the day with the 2 losses here in Texas, 2 games back of the wild card spot. Texas a game and a half back. Baltimore started the day a half game back. And how about the Orioles offense? It's a foul ball, so the count 2 strikes. Baltimore winning big, and so for the moment they have an identical record with the Baltimore Orioles and the Los Angeles Angels. That was an 18-2 win today for Baltimore. Way up and away from Casale. 1-2. Well, even Beltre wouldn't swing at that one. And we've seen him be very aggressive with pitches up, and I mean really up, but not that one.
That's where you got to go. It changed in eye level, a little extreme right there. But you're right. Adrien Beltre does not limit himself at any point.
And a cut and a miss at that one in the dirt. Casale completes the putout with a toss to Loney. So the strikeout for Colome.
How about those last 2 pitches and the ground they covered? I mean, there had to be a 7-foot difference. That ball up, way up over the head of Beltre. Then he comes right back with a breaking ball in the dirt to pick up the strikeout.
Well, he couldn't get him to go for the extreme high, so he got him on the extreme low.
Listen, he'll go after either one. There's a number of Ranger hitters that'll expand the zone to that extreme.
A ball, no strikes, the count to Mike Napoli.
But what they do is they force you to be precise with those pitches and get them to those spots. If you roll one in there, they're going to hammer it. And that's what they've been doing since the All-Star break, and especially here at home, as we just saw.
Colome in relief of Smiley. A 1-2-3 fifth. Gave up a couple of base runners in the 6th on a hit batter and an infield hit, but left those men on. And here in the 7th is retired fielder on a ground ball to first, and Beltre on strikes. And a foul ball that got a little part of Casale. 2-1. Colome trying to keep this one right where it is. The Rays with 2 shots left at the Texas bullpen. Strike at the knees. 2-2. Count holds at 2-2. Beltre has a couple of runs batted in today. Chu has one. DeShields one, and Strasburger the other one on his first big league home run. Napoli batting with the bases empty, 2 outs and a count of 2-2. And that runs the count full. The Rays have actually out-hit Texas today, 11-8. Rays now have 10+ hits in 13 of their last 17 games. Pop foul, out of play. But so far, the Rays have been able to convert those hits into just 3 runs. Liner into left. Cut off out there by Jennings. They're going to hold Napoli to a single. Well, he picked up his first hit since coming back to the Rangers in the 3rd. That was a double. Now a line drive single into left.
Well, another guy that doesn't change his approach with 2 strikes. He gets a breaking ball. The breaking ball stays up. The swing is right on it. And that's a missile out into left field. A 2-out hit here for the Rangers.
Here's Elvis Andrus. He had a bunt single in the 2nd. A couple of ground ball outs since then. Pitch is low. Xavier Cedeno has been up in the bullpen for a bit for the Rays, so he continues out there at the ready. Two balls, no strikes. Well, Colomé in relief of Drew Smiley. Smiley made 95 pitches in 4 innings. This will be the 50th pitch of the game for Colomé. Popped up right side. Loney backpedaling, and that ball just fair as he makes the catch. We're headed into the 8th. The Rays still down by 2. And here's what's coming up tomorrow on Rays Live, the pregame show presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Raisel Ramirez will be on the hill. We'll hear from him. He's after victory number 10 tomorrow. And Orestes will break down Carlos Gomez. New pitcher for the Texas Rangers, Sam Dyson. He is the 4th pitcher of the day, making his 8th appearance since coming over from Miami.
Well, we saw Sam Dyson the other night. You know, good fastball in the mid-90s with good action. But I'll tell you what, the way Kella looked in the last half inning that the Rangers were out in the field, you're glad that he's out of there. He was absolutely dominant and overpowering, and now you take your chances with Dyson. And constant communication between pitcher and pitching coach and Jim Hickey is a good one, very good one.
Here's Asdrubal Cabrera. He is 1 for 3, singled in the 3rd inning. The chopper to the right side where Andrus is positioned, and he makes the play. So on a shift, Cabrera is out 6-3. Dyson pitched 2 innings here on Friday night. The Rays got 3 hits off him, but no runs. And he struck out 3. It's taken inside by Jennings. One. There's a chop down to 3rd. Quick throw to first, takes care of Jennings. A couple of ground ball outs here against Dyson.
And that's exactly what you would expect that Sam Dyson would get because of the velocity on the fastball and the fact that he's got good arm side run with it. Keeps that ball, tries to keep that ball down in the zone and get opponents to pound it into the ground. So far he's 2 for 2.
Kiermaier bounces this one foul. Down to first, another ground ball. This one handled by Napoli. And on 3 ground balls, the Rays are up and down in order. Still a 2-run deficit.
hoping to avoid this sweep here in Arlington before heading to Houston for a 4-game set. Be sure to stay with us after the game for Rays Live, the post-game show presented by Checkers. We'll have Rich and Orestes in the cool, nice AC in Florida. I'll be gathering interviews in the clubhouse with Kevin Cash and Drew Smyly on his first start in 100+ days. Dwayne B.A., I felt like I should keep the trend going at the Budweiser deck to close out this series here at Globe Life Park.
Yeah, it seems like a great idea.
Yeah, what took her so long?
Yeah, that's the big question.
We've been here for 3 days.
And, you know, it was 94 when this game started. But Xavier Cedeno's on the hill to work the bottom of the 8th inning, making his 48th appearance. And boy, what a run he's had.
Well, he's been absolutely fantastic, and he's taken on a more important role in the back end of that bullpen for the Rays.
Facing Rougned Odor, throws him a strike.
Now it's going to be a heavy dose of cut fastballs and sliders.
Colomé worked 3 innings for the Rays, gave up a couple of hits, no runs, 1 strikeout, made 50 pitches.
He absolutely did his job. And now you turn over to Cedeno.
And it's a 1-2 count now. Well, for the Rays, who have 1 shot left, when you look at what's gone on around the Major League so far today, Toronto picking up a win. Angels play tonight. Baltimore picks up a win. Minnesota won. And the Rays trail the Rangers here. Rays need a late inning rally.
Big time.
And Odor is out on strikes, chasing that one.
Well, that's been the difference here for Cedeno. Everything for Cedeno right now is in perfect alignment. And out in front, you see him get around that baseball. His breaking ball more slurvy than anything else. He throws it, 79, 82, 83. And now he's able to expand the strike zone with it. And that's the difference. The cutter out in front, the breaking ball out in front. Everything is sharp because Cedeno is mechanically perfect right now.
Bobby Wilson hit by a pitch his last time. Wilson reached on a fielder's choice and scored a run back in the 2nd inning. The 3rd run of the game for Texas. Around the knees for a strike, 1-1.
And we often talk about hitters. They're able to stay back in their stance and see the ball for a long time because they trust their hands. That's the same thing with Cedeno and his delivery to home plate. Staying quiet in the delivery, staying upright over the rubber, and then exploding towards home plate with a hand out in front, trusting his hand out in front, and that's why the pitches have been so sharp and thus more effective. It's been fun to watch.
And what a find he has been for the Rays. And he strikes out Wilson. Put out down to first to Loney. So back-to-back strikeouts. 2 up, 2 down.
Oh, another tremendous breaking ball there by Xavier. Now this run that he's been on started coming out of the All-Star break. He's been absolutely untouchable. Hasn't walked anybody. Has rung up a ton of strikeouts per innings pitched.
First pitch to Strasburger is a strike. Since the Rays got him at the end of April, he's 2nd in the American League in appearances. And it does seem as if he's in there almost every day. He has been very resilient.
Well, and now you're seeing the ability to not just come in for a couple of lefties that are back-to-back, but against right-handers he's been effective. Yeah, he can use the cutter. We've seen him use it backdoor. We just saw one, in on Strasburger where he's able to get the swing and a miss. Of course, he's always got that breaking ball at his disposal, but he's become a weapon against righties and lefties.
Just missed.
He tried that backdoor cutter right there.
We'll take the count to 2-2. Cedeno did not pitch last night, but was in the game here Friday for an inning and a third. Picked up a strikeout in a scoreless outing. And a big cut to miss. He strikes out the side in the 8th. And this game moves into the 9th inning. Rays down by 2. Games by scores of 5-3 and 12-4. And our high def highlight presented by H.H. Gregg. More good work from the Rays lefty Xavier Cedeno.
And just watch his hand working out in front, and watch the action of the pitches. Late break. Big swing there by Strasburger, but he goes out there 1 inning, punches out the side. You can't do any better than that, and he continues to stay on that run that he's been on since the break.
Well, Curt Casale will open the 9th inning against Sean Tolleson. He is 22 of 23 in save situations.
More than a strikeout an inning. Opponent's average at 226. But he can't be any better than the last 2 righties that the Rays have faced in the 7th and 8th, and Kella and Dyson.
Well, you wouldn't think so. Casale goes after the first pitch fastball and misses. Strike 1. It's 1-1. Tolleson worked a perfect 9th inning here Friday night. It's 2-1. In that game Friday, he faced Kiermaier, then Jaso pinch hitting for Casale. And then Sizemore. High fly ball into right field. Chu waiting for that one. And in that game Friday, it was a solid line drive by Sizemore that ended it. Turned out to be a double play with Jaso doubled off first. Here's Brandon Guyer. One strike to count. 1-1. Geyer fouls it off. A different angle on that one from Tolleson.
And I think Brandon Geyer a little bit surprised there at the fastball. He had a late swing, fouled it off to the right side, kind of smacked his bat. A little bit fooled there. Now he finds himself in the hole. Got a battle.
And there's a foul ball. Rays need a base runner. They're down by 2. 1 out in the 9th inning. Baltimore beat Oakland 18-2. Toronto beat New York 3-1. Angels play in Kansas City tonight. Minnesota beat Cleveland 4-1. Another foul ball. And the Rays trail the Rangers.
Not that high.
2-2.
You can see that they've continued to try to work above the zone to Geyer. Fastball up, fouled it off. A little higher, fouled it off. Not gonna get him to bite at that one.
Ground ball headed toward the middle. That's through into center field. And Geyer has himself a base hit. That's the first hit the Rays have off the Texas bullpen in this game. Rays now have 12 hits. 11 came off Gallardo. And what an at bat there for Geyer to stay alive and then eventually single up the middle.
Well, you know, they gave him 4 looks at fastballs up in the zone. And Brandon Geyer smartly cut down on the swing. Again, put the ball in play. Maybe you find a hole. That's exactly what happened. And now the Rays within striking distance. 1 pitch out over the plate. You could tie this baby up.
Daniel Nava will pinch hit for Schaefer. The Rays send Geyer's left-handed bat up there against Tolleson. The pitch is upstairs. Fastball at 93 high.
Boy, you continue to work that fastball that is straight as an arrow up in the zone. Not completely overpowering. You make one mistake by a couple inches, the way the ball's carrying here.
And now Nava's up in the count, 2-0. One on, one out. Top of the 9th, 2-run ball game. Ground ball down to first. Out at second. Back to first. Safe there.
Yeah, you wonder if Napoli was close enough. Had to look at it on the replay to just touch first and then try to get the tag play down at second. Because by going to second first, you've got 2 very long throws with a left-handed hitter coming out of the box. Could he have touched first? He absolutely could have touched first and still had the tag play. Right there, long throw. Now another long throw. Left-handed runner, or left-handed hitter coming out of the box, and he's just able to beat it. Maybe try to take advantage of a mistake there by Mike Napoli.
Well, it gives the Rays another shot. It's like giving a club an extra out in an inning. And so Evan Longoria will bat. Nava at first on a fielder's choice. Longoria takes a strike.
Well, this is where your big boy turns it loose. This is what he's here for. This situation, more a pitch out over the plate and lose it. Let's say Rays bullpen.
Nava heads into second. Indifference, he moves up. Pitch was a ball to Longoria. So a 1-1 count to Evan. takes another one wide. Runs the count to 3 balls and a strike. Well, he's where he wants to be now.
Yeah, he's painted himself into a corner. He's wanted no part of Longoria after that initial strike. And you got James Loney. We've seen him turn it loose every now and again. And certainly he'd be thinking that if he gets a chance.
Texas scored the go-ahead run in the 3rd, added another run in the 4th. We're in the 9th. And that will take the count full.
He came off speed, and I think Evan was sitting on 3-1 fastball, realized he wasn't going to get it, and just that ball almost just found its way into the bat for strike 2.
Full count. And a cut and a miss. This one is over. Longoria strikes out. Tomlinson closes it out. And the Texas Rangers have swept the Rays by scores of 5-3, 12-4. And again today, 5-3. Here's the final pitch.
Well, he elevated, and he elevated off the plate. Evan Longoria looking to drive that ball, goes out of the zone and can't do anything with it.
Well, the Rays out hit Texas 12-9, but they dropped this game 5-3. For Texas, 5-9-0 with 7 left. For the Rays, 3-12-0 with 9 men left. Gallardo's going to get the win to even his record at 9-9. Smiley, the loser, he's now 0-2, and Tomlinson picks up his 23rd save for 29,167. For Brian Anderson and the rest of our crew, Dwayne Stats, hope you've enjoyed the telecast, if not the outcome. Road trip moves on to Houston. We'll be there. Our coverage begins at 7:30 tomorrow night, Eastern Time on Sun Sports. Rays Live, the postgame presented by Checkers.